This is a quick and effective line to use on Great League. Today trainers, we are diving together into the beloved format of Go Battle League with a Shadow Hypno up in front while Charm is gonna take over as our backline. I'm pretty excited about today's content because it might be a double Charm team but also has a lot of coverage against the entire meta. If you feel like you're struggling a lot against steel types, feel free to go with Fire Punch or even something like a Focus Blast on your Hypno. If I knew better and earlier, I guess that I could replace my Shadow Ball with Focus Blast because I didn't use it that much overall. Anyways, here now my opponent is having the Annihilate coming into the game. So whoever is having that Pokemon is most probably gonna be in deep trouble against our team because not only we have double charm but also Shadow Confusion for all of those trainers. Now with Gligar joining the party, this is one of the few incidents that you want to run Shadow Ball. We managed to snipe a lot of HP out of that Pokemon. Now by blocking once we can easily farm down, and obviously Annihilate has nothing to throw here, so down they go since they are unshielded and we have one shield remaining. Into the next battle now with a terrible lead, this time up against a Skeledirge. We're just gonna stay in and see how they respond. I'm just gonna go for the extra confusion here, avoiding completely that CMP point. So as it seems, we can get our hands on the Thunder Punch by getting to one more confusion and finish off that Skeledirge, and with that Pokemon out of the way, perhaps we can have the upper hand with our backline. Seeing the fire type up in front makes me think that they might have no other decent answer to our Charmers, and here by catching the X-Scissor we can resist the move and still farm down completely without breaking any sweat at all. Wigglytuff now is gonna join the battle with Swift over any other move that you want to use it with, because Swift is gonna give it access to another spammy move, kinda spammy with Charm, but still it is gonna require a lot of expertise to use this move, because sometimes you might find yourself in deep trouble, but it makes no difference because still this Pokemon is going to rely a lot on Swift. So my opponent just backed out, and now we're just gonna keep going at it into the next battle with a ton of flame on the switch. This is not the ideal switch scenario that you want to be in, and right here we're just gonna go for the Ice Wind. My opponent takes the move and in the process we get farmed down. Now Hypno will just come into the battle to absorb the damage from the Brave Bird. That was huge for us, and right after we can go ahead and stall a little bit to switch out to Granbull. However, this is not the case at all, and my opponent was definitely expecting this, so they're just gonna go ahead, throw the foul play right straight ahead, and now we can switch out to our Granbull. At the very end they have a Feraligatr, and I managed to get my hands here on that crunch. I want to apply the debuff, but the debuff is not happening at all, and now I believe they need one more Shadow Claw to reach to another Hydro Cannon. So in the process, down they go, Abron returns into the game, and they have no last resort, which means that they have nowhere to run, and we're gonna just charm down our way to victory. Into the next battle now with a Gligar up in front. This is a Pokemon that you need to be afraid of if you do not have Ice Punch. So my main strategy here is to go for the Shadow Ball, but to be fair, most of those Gligars are gonna shield your first move, but this opponent didn't. And at this point I was thinking, oh my goodness, I must be kinda in my lucky day, because we managed to go with the Shadow Ball on that Gligar. They have only 1 HP remaining, but remember they have farmed up quite the energy, so they might be at least on the RLA's range. So right here we're just gonna go down to the Lantern, and I guess this is just fine because we can still have a ton of action by our second Charmer, but till then we want them to dump the remaining energy that they have. I stalled a little bit extra there because I want to switch out at some point to my Granbull, and by by getting that final charm over that Gligar, we managed to finish them off. Mandibuss now returns into the game, and this Pokemon has nothing to offer on this battle, and by going just for one shield, I guess we can easily farm down completely without getting afraid of the Pokemon. So I shielded the first one just in case that was a Shadow Ball or anything, but it isn't, so yeah, the win is ours anyways. Into the next one now, with the Annihilate up in front. Whenever you see a fighter, this team will most likely succeed because your opponent will be in deep trouble with that fighter. So now with Cresselia coming into the game, we can still do a ton of damage with our charms. So Cresselia now will reach to the Grass Knot, which is a move we can survive. You saw my IVs pretty early on today's content, and I guess you have already seen that I have a rank 1 Wigglytuff for Great League, and this is a huge asset for us because Wigglytuff is a bulky charmer that can take the hits, which is pretty great. So right here we're just gonna completely farm down a ton of energy in the process, and now we have access to Thunder Punch. This will drop Leaky Tank a little bit low, just enough to be much easier for us to completely farm them down without spending both of our shields, or at least not getting the knockout on Grand Bull, because Leaky Tank is a Pokemon that can survive our moves. Oh my freaking goodness. So right here we go down on both shields. So here comes now Annihilate into the game. What I want to do here is to get to at least a crunch and apply the debuff on their end. This is not the case, and of course now down we go to the Night Slash. It doesn't matter at all because all we need here is to go for a couple of confusions, but to my surprise they still survive and hold on. This Night Slash now is super scary, and we still manage to get the victory because we survive with a little bit of HP. Into the next one now with the Poliwrath up in front. Pretty much like Annihilate, this is another great lead for you, and most likely an even better one because at least Annihilate can have access to Night Slash and Shadow Ball for your Hypno, unlike this Poliwrath which has nothing to throw to be real. Anyways, now I'm just gonna come into the battle with my Wigglytuff, and most likely your opponents will expect something like a Victory Bell at the very end. Well, not this trainer, but you never know. Anyways, now with the Red Steel coming into the game, this is absolutely fine because Red Steel might be a Steel type but kinda soft in the current state of Great League, and you can always go ahead and debuff this Pokemon as much you want. And obviously with a few Shadow Balls you can still do a lot of work with your Hypno. Over here I decide to go for the Thunder Punch, and my opponent will go for the Shield. This is absolutely huge news for us because now Granbull can easily go in, tank the move. This is a Scald, that was scary, and now we just finish them off. And right here now they return the battle with that Registeel. So we still have a lot of HP remaining on our Hypno even though we are on the red. So I realize here that perhaps my only win condition is to go straight for those Shadow Balls. I cannot risk it for the bait. I'm getting debuffed every single time they throw a Zap Cannon, which is kind of a big mess up, but still it is what it is, and now the final Shadow Ball will finally get that Registeel out of the way. Into the next battle with a Wigglytuff up in front. This is another toxic team as it seems. So whenever I see Wigglytuff up in front, it makes me think that this is either a Bastiodon Victory Bell backline or even something like a double fighting with Poliwrath and Annihilate. So let's take the gamble here, and we're just gonna keep going at it with our Wigglytuff. They end up having that Poliwrath, so I can only expect something like an Annihilate up against us. Power Up Punch, which is something that we can easily survive and still reach to Swift. Swift was getting the rework this season, and the main reason I did not go for any charm here was not because I lagged, but because I want to farm up some extra on my Hypno, and to do so I'm just gonna not shield whatever they throw because this has to be just the Power Up Punch. Now we have enough energy to start getting that final shield out of play. My opponent will not fall for that, and Annihilate Cape comes into the game, so yeah, my charms are gonna be absolutely charming, and yeah, that's gonna be an amazing victory for our team. Skeletor's now once again up in front, and this is a Pokemon that you definitely need to finish off with your Hypno. You saw before that that trainer decided to sacrifice their Skeletors, so right here we're just gonna see the switch out on this incident on Umbreon. This is just fine for us. We can still hope for the best with our Wigglytuff, and obviously we can easily farm down because last resort here can do a lot of damage, but they cannot get to the triple, so down they go to my charms. Skeletor's now joins the party. We're having access to the Ice Wind for some extra damage, and they need to throw a move, otherwise they might be in a pickle after that final Ice Wind. So they managed to block the move, and if I can block here correctly, we can still guarantee the farm down. So down they go. This is absolutely awesome for us. Vigoroth comes into the game, and we have a lot of Thunder Punches to throw. I'm just gonna get my hands on another Thunder Punch because I feel like I can do a lot of damage on that Pokemon, and as soon as I get my hands on that Granbull on the switch, I know that I can easily survive one move and still guarantee the knockout because the counters are resisted but still are gonna do a decent amount of damage, which we can survive. Into the next one now with the Charjabug up in front. This is the X-Scissor threat that you need to be afraid of, but besides that you can be just fine. How I want to play this is to potentially catch that X-Scissor on one of my Charmers because the move is resisted over there due to their fairy typing, and unlike Hypno they can have a much easier matchup against that Charjabug. So anyways, now I decide to switch out on Wigglytuff, and we finally catch the move. This is absolutely insane. Now we meet up with the Azumarill. This Pokemon might be bulky, but also it is kinda frail to our charms because whatever they throw here we can take it and still go ahead pretty rough with the charms and the debuffs. Icy Wind, not even the Swift, because I want to push even more with my charms and I do not want them to completely farm down my remaining HP. So at this point I have already dropped them severely low that I can easily get my hands on those Thunder Punches to potentially finish them down. It all depends now on what they might be having at the very end. Poliwrath comes into the game and we can still get our hands on the Thunder Punch to grab that final shield out of the game. This has to be a Scald and most probably we're gonna go down, but instead they throw the Ice Wind. Now Charjabug returns into the game and we can still guarantee the victory with the final knockout over Poliwrath. Into the next battle now everyone, with the Ferrothorn up in front. This is arguably the worst lead that you can get. That Pokemon can resist pretty much whatever we throw and also has a high defense stat, which makes it one of the greatest threats for this team. Anyways, now with the Shadow Ball you can do some decent damage, but if you want to have complete coverage against those steel types, either go for Focus Blast or the Fire Punch. You are not gonna regret it, especially the Fire Punch. It is gonna be kinda unexpected to a lot of those steel types. So over here now on the switch we meet up with the Skeletors. I should have gone for one extra charm, but it doesn't matter at all. We can still do some decent damage with our charms and that Icy Wind. So I think that I have to block here. We block the correct move. This is the Shadow Ball, and before the Incinerate animation is completed we can still get to another Thunder Punch to start getting some shields out of play. Now with the Disarming Voice we almost go down, so the switch out on Granbull is imminent. Here comes now the return of Ferrothorn. It all depends now on what might be lying at the very end, and it is a Quagsire, so the battle might not be over yet, but still they have the upper hand because of that shield advantage. We can still get now on the crunch to threat that final shield out of the game. Down we go to their moves, but Hypno only has 1 HP, so that's gonna be all for this one. into the final 1-out trainers with the Annihilate up in front, Dugong on the switch, and we can get our hands on the Thunder Punch before we go down. I knew that Dugong was having a very low attack stat, but I didn't know that Hypno is losing the CMP. That was a first for me. Anyways, now with Wigglytuff coming into the game, we can survive pretty much whatever they throw, and also we have cleared the debuff from our Hypno out of play. So the Charm Down is imminent. Now Clodsire comes into the game, and this is a poison type that gets super effective damage from our Icy Winds. Also, they need to go for a charge attack if they want to have any chance at all over our Wigglytuff, and they choose the worst timing ever to throw their move, because right here we managed to go for another Icy Wind and drop them very low. That was a Sludge Bomb, so this means that they might actually not have Stone Edge. This is some useless info on that Pokemon, but still we can still predict some movesets. Anyways, now with Clodsire returning into the game, Granbull, all that has to do is to accept its fate, go down to the Sludge Bomb and completely farm down right after with some Shadow Confusions. That is gonna be an amazing ending to a completely quick video for you trainers. If you want to see more, over here I have 2 more videos for you, but before you go, leave a huge like, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you all into the next one.